Hi, my name's Dave. I make videos about riding my bike and camping in different countries, usually in strange off-the-beaten-track locations. This summer, I flew to Greece with my bike and with the intention of island hopping back to where I live, in Barcelona, on the far side of the Mediterranean. To make things more interesting, I decided not to bring a tent with me, which meant I often ended up sleeping in unusual places, like on the rooftops of abandoned buildings, in the remains of old castles, or on disused bridges. I started this trip on roads, and then took boats between several islands as I made my way to mainland Greece. Afterwards, I crossed the ankle of Italy before finishing up with a few days in Sardinia and with a ferry back to Spain. I'll just share my favourite days from the trip in this video, so let's begin on the island of Kos, on a track leading into the mountains. So I've been going up this track for a while now. It's super steep, it's super rocky, so I've just been pushing all the time, really, but it's also really beautiful. Amazing day, super clear, blue skies. Views of the sea, surrounded by hills and rocks and big rocky monoliths, and every time I look at one of these big rock formations there's a little goat somewhere keeping an eye on me. I'm just going to try climb up one of these rocks a bit to see what the views are like up there. Hopefully I don't scare these goats too much. Would have actually been a pretty cool place to spend the night on a rock formation like this, but I ended up staying on the beach last night, so it's actually just down here somewhere, and it's taken me probably an hour just to get from down there to where I am now because it's been very steep. But yeah, maybe I can find something like this tonight. I don't know where I'm going to be exactly tonight, but I'd be pretty happy if I ended up sleeping somewhere like this. So I just stopped here because I saw that there were loads of goats chilling out on top of these ruins here. I was trying to film them, but they all ran away. But then I saw something even cooler, which I wasn't sure whether I was going to see it, so I didn't want to say anything. I'd seen other people take pictures of them, but check out what I found walking around in the wild of this island. So the app I've been using to navigate has been giving me some really questionable routes. I'm basically like in a dried up riverbed at the moment, and I've literally done about half a kilometre in the last hour or so. So the bit ahead is a sort of steep path right behind me, and I hope if I can get my stuff up there, there should be an actual track that I can follow once I get up there. So hopefully things will start to speed up a bit. So finally made it to the high point of the route for the day, just over 500 meters. It's taken absolutely ages to get here, maybe close to 7 hours, even though I've only done about 11 kilometers and I've climbed about 500 meters. But there's been so much pushing and pulling and carrying my bike and getting lost. That's taken a really long time, but it's been pretty fun. I haven't seen a single person. Beautiful views the whole way. I can see Turkey in this direction, I can see the main town of Kos in this direction, and now I'm just going to descend in this direction towards what I hope will be a ghost town. Right, there's a scooter over there, and some of these houses look quite nice, so I don't think this whole place is abandoned, but yeah, there's lots of ruins around. So I just stocked up on food and drink in a nearby town, and I was looking for somewhere to spend the night. I was thinking about going to a forest. I was thinking about heading back down to the coast to try to find somewhere on the beach. And just as I was leaving town, I came across this abandoned house. And I think it could be an amazing place to spend the night. There's just a couple of caveats. Well, really, there's only one. And that's there are other buildings around. So there's another town in that direction. And there's actually another house. So here's the abandoned house, in case I haven't actually shown it yet. There's actually a non-abandoned house just in this direction. Although the shutters are down, so I wonder if it's just like a holiday home for someone. Yeah, so this is the abandoned house where I'm thinking of staying. And if you're thinking it seems creepy in there, that's what I'm thinking. But the cool thing is it has access to the roof. So the roof would be an amazing place to stay. It's flat. There's views of the sea. The sun's going to set in that direction. But yeah, I'm just a bit worried that it might be seen by the neighbours and attract attention. So rather than head straight up to the roof now, I'm going to lay low for a while. So I've been hanging out around this abandoned house for a little while now. I was kind of planning to sort of lay low in the garden until it got a bit darker, but actually like 3 different groups of people have come to like check out the house. Just people like walking past, I guess they're tourists. So, and all of them have seen me, so I feel like I'm sort of just drawing more attention to myself by being in the garden rather than actually up on the roof where I wouldn't be visible to these people, although it will be visible to houses in the other village nearby potentially. But I'm getting bored of just sitting here waiting for it to get darker, so I think I'm just going to risk it and head on up to the roof and try to lay low. So welcome to the roof of the abandoned house. Contrary to what I thought, it definitely will be visible from the road over there because it's like on an angle. But I'm just gonna try and sort of stay low, stay out of sight. I'm gonna try to not move around too much because there's the village over there with loads of buildings overlooking where I am. Probably no one really cares, but I guess I just get a bit paranoid when I'm doing this kind of thing. So yeah, kind of looking forward to it getting a little bit darker, and then I'll be a bit more sneaky, but it's a pretty incredible location. Morning, so it's about 6:30 now. Even though I don't think anyone is going to be coming up here anytime soon, I'm going to get packed up and then we can take a look around. So just the remains of an old castle. I tried to look it up but couldn't find anything about it online, so I have no idea about the history of this place. But it has some little windows, I guess, that were used for keeping an eye on people and maybe shooting arrows through or something like that. But it did mean the place was quite windy. Someone tried to fill in this little window with some rocks, but still loads of wind is coming through, and obviously has no roof. But I was very grateful to have this place because there's not really much around here other than lots of big rocky hills. So I think it was probably one of the best options there was in terms of places to sleep. So I made it down to the coast and I'm getting pretty hungry, and I found this little spot over here which I think would be good for making breakfast. I've seen on the map that there is an area near the coast that looks like it doesn't have any houses or any buildings or anything too close by. So I'm heading down there at the moment, and if it looks good, then maybe I can spend the night there, I can cook there, I can sleep there. If it looks bad, then I don't know, maybe I'll have to go back up this track. So I'm hoping that I'm going to find something. So just getting down to the coast now, and don't want to speak too soon, but it's looking very promising. I've encountered like a lot of private land by the coast whilst during my sort of day and a half cycling around Mykonos. So it's really a nice surprise to see a place like this not have a load of fancy villas sort of taking up all the land. So it took a while, but I think I found a pretty good spot. So the sun is in that direction and I'm high up on a hill in front of me, so I should be able to enjoy the sun for some time. I've just got my bike in bags up there, that's why I'm kind of out of breath. So yeah, let's take a look. It's kind of a mini cave, as you can see. And I've taken a sit down in here already. And I think it'll be pretty comfortable to sleep in, pretty protected from the wind. Admittedly, there was a bit of goat poop on the floor, but there seems to be everywhere around here, so you kind of just have to live with it. This will be my last night doing this sort of thing in Mykonos. I'll be going to some other Greek islands over the next few weeks, and then I'll be heading to Italy, doing some islands there. But for now, just gonna eat some pasta, gonna have some local Greek beer, and then I'll call it a night. So I've scoped out a lot of places today, trying to find somewhere to spend the night. and I've not had any luck really. I mean, I definitely could find something, but nothing around here has really sort of taken me yet, you know. I did actually see there's a couple of campsites in town, so I'm tempted to check out one of those. It's not as interesting as what I would have liked, but I don't have a tent, so that makes it kind of interesting. So yeah, I think I'll just get set up around here somewhere. I've got my tarp, so I'm probably going to try just rig my tarp up over my bike somehow. So now I'm just going to climb in and see how it is. So pretty good. I mean, I'm just lying on the ground basically with a tarp basically just hanging on me. Here's my bike. As I may have mentioned, my only concern is the ants, but I think once I'm wrapped up in a sleeping bag, they shouldn't be able to get to me too well. So just doing an ascent out of the town where the campsite was at the moment. Beautiful day, nice and warm, probably like 20 degrees, sunny, nice smell of pine trees in the air. So I've done a bit of route planning. I was planning to ride about 60 kilometers today, but I noticed that 60 kilometers would take me to like a big sort of developed area, and I'd really like to find somewhere to sleep in the wild tonight. So I'm going to do about 40, I think. Looks like there should be sort of some undeveloped areas about 40k away, and some nice beaches too. So where I'm thinking of spending the night is somewhere up on these hills, because I don't think there's really any like paths there, and it's just like, it seems like the area where I'm least likely to come across people. But unfortunately there's a few elderly gentlemen at the moment blocking my way to that area. Not sure what they're up to, but I can't imagine they're going to spend all night here like I'm planning to do. So I think in the meantime I'm gonna find somewhere around here to make some dinner. I'm gonna hope that they get bored of whatever it is they're doing, and then I'll try to head on over that way and see if I can find somewhere to maybe put my hammock up. I noticed something about the end of the beach where there were some people. Actually, there are still some people there. I had a look on the map and I saw that actually there's like a little inlet where they are. So even if they weren't there, I couldn't just actually walk to the end of the beach and then climb up onto the hill. because yeah, there's like an inlet around there, and I don't want to, unless it's really shallow, I don't know. But when I was looking at the map, it did look like I might be able to sort of get up into these hills by sort of going inland slightly and then looping back around. So I might go check out whether that's possible. So this is the end of the inlet that I mentioned. So that's just where I had dinner, in that direction. And this is what I saw on the map actually. So there is a path into this forest. Just gonna see how easy or difficult it would be for me to get my things down here. It looks pretty narrow. Obviously I have a bike with me and quite a lot of stuff. So it's gonna be a bit of work to get them up here, but maybe I can leave my bike locked to a tree or something and just continue with my bags until I find somewhere to put my hammock. Yeah, it's a really beautiful spot with the sun setting over there and the water. So if I can find something here, I'll be pretty happy. I went up into these hills over there late last night. We were about 9 last night, trying to find somewhere to sleep, somewhere to put my hammock up. I thought I had found somewhere just as it was getting dark. I was going to put my hammock between some rocks. It didn't work out. All the trees in that area were way too small. I tried for about 30 minutes to find a place up on those hills, because it took me quite a while to actually get up there with all my stuff. So I was really keen to actually try to find somewhere up there so that I wouldn't have to, waste all that time and effort. But that's what I did in the end. I gave up after about 30 minutes trying to find somewhere up there and came back down to the beach. So I'm actually exactly where I cooked dinner last night. I actually saw when I was making dinner that this tree had some like perfectly positioned branches for putting my hammock up, as did the tree by my feet. The only problem was this position is really close to like a path, and I thought there'd be people coming and going, but whatever, people have been coming and going, really don't care. So it worked out really well. I'm very happy to be waking up on a beach in Greece with a beautiful sunrise. So after today, I'm going to be crossing mainland Italy for about a week probably. So this is going to be my last chance to take a dip in the sea for a whole week, which seems like a long time because I've been next to the sea every day basically for the last few weeks. So I'm going to jump in now, get refreshed, and then I'll keep heading down the coast. I'm about 7k from the ferry terminal, so should have plenty of time still to take a swim and make it to my ferry on time. So it turns out there's loads of ports in Patra, and I didn't know which one to go to because my ticket doesn't say where I should go. And I was just passing a ship, and I was just about to cycle past it, but I recognized the name of the ship, and I think it's mine. So I'm gonna go check it out and see if it is, Hopefully it is, because it's starting to rain. To be fair, I'm still wet from swimming, but I'd still like to get out of the rain. So we made it out of Bari, just heading through some nice olive groves at the moment. There's supposed to be a cool aqueduct about 40 kilometers away, and close to the aqueduct there's some really impressive looking castle. So the plan for today really is just to head towards those, and then when evening comes I'll try to find somewhere to spend the night. It's about 5 in the evening now. I think I'm probably a bit too late to check out the castle I might have mentioned today. It's a bit too far away, but I'm pretty close to the aqueduct, about 15-20 kilometers away. So I think there would be lots of places to stay around here. It's about 7 in the evening now, and I'm pretty tired. I'm ready to call it tonight, make some dinner, then hang up my hammock somewhere. It'd be pretty cool if I could actually put it between these two railings, but I think it's probably a bit too short. Maybe it'd work. So welcome back, and now I find myself at the base of Mount Vulture in the valley of the river Ofonto, and apparently there's a big waterfall about 40 kilometers up this valley. So my plan for today is to follow the river, follow this old train track up the valley, try find the waterfall, and when the sun starts to set I'll see if I can find a forest in which to spend the night. So as I was riding along the road, I was just looking through some trees and I caught a glimpse of a ghost train station. I'm not sure how long it's been like this. The grass and weeds in the track are pretty long. It doesn't look like anyone's been here for a long time. But there's actually a sign on the other side of the building that mentions 2023, which is the current year. So maybe there are some plans for this station to see action again at some point in the not too distant future. So I've arrived at the waterfall now. There's a really nice river here with some little stony beaches, and I think those little beaches would be perfect for making dinner on and for potentially sleeping. The only problem is there's a steep bank from where I am at the moment, down to the river, and I can't see a way down there. So I'm going to continue down the road a bit and see if I can find a way down. So good morning. Started to rain last night, so I had to put my tarp up. Luckily my hammock is very low to the ground, so I was able to do that trick where you put your bike upside down and then just put the tarp over the top of that, and then I used some rocks to keep my tarp in place, so it stayed nice and dry. I've been doing some route planning, and about 40 kilometers west of here it looks like there's a place where people do hang gliding on top of a mountain of about 800 or 900 meters. So I thought that could be quite a cool place to head towards for the evening, and potentially for spending the night in. So I've just come across these amazing ruins of an old Roman castle, and I've just been walking around the perimeter of the castle, and it's really cool. There's no one here. It's very hard to get to. I'm about 900 meters up now. Amazing views in all directions of other mountains and fields and forests. And yeah, I've had a good look around the outside so far, but I'd love to find a way in if I can. This is so cool. I went to another castle a few days ago, but it was a big tourist attraction and there were hundreds of other people there. And as impressive as the castle was, I just don't really enjoy being places where you're supposed to be with lots of other people. I find being in this sort of place much more fun. And I was planning, I may have mentioned, on going to a place where people do hang gliding. However, given that it's quite late already, I think I'm going to spend the night on the roof of this castle. So I'm planning in the next couple of days to take a ferry to Sardinia, and then I'd like to spend maybe a week, maybe a bit less, cycling through Sardinia. And then from there, I'm not quite decided. So I've got some planning to do, but for now, just gonna eat my pasta, drink my Prosecco, and then pretty soon I'll call it a night. So, see you soon. So welcome to Sardinia. I'm currently in the water near some ruins called Tauros. So yeah, it's got about 5 days of riding up the coast, hopefully finding lots more beautiful beaches like the one I'm currently on, which I'm sharing with absolutely nobody, which is very nice. Hoping to just find more places like this, sleep places like this, and then in a few days' time I'll arrive at the ferry terminal and then I'll continue my journey from there. So I've been heading down the coast for a couple of hours now. It's been nice and easy, just following a relatively smooth track by the beach. But now it's early evening and I'm starting to think about dinner. I'm starting to think about where I'm going to spend the night. Aren't too many trees around here. I'd like to set up my hammock, but it could be difficult without any trees. But the worst case scenario is I just put my mattress on the ground somewhere and spend the night sleeping by a nice beach. So I've just continued down the coast a little way, and where there was once a beach, there is now a big cliff. So if I do come across any beaches, I'll have to somehow climb down a cliff to get to it. On the other hand, there's basically no one around anymore. These tracks I'm on are pretty rough. I probably wouldn't want to drive down here. So yeah, just hoping that if I continue down this cliff top for a while, I'm going to come across a nice place to spend the night. Good morning. So I've just been doing some route planning and I've come up with a route of about 50 kilometers that should take in lots of nice coves, an archway, and possibly some places for cliff jumping. And at the end of the day, the route should take me to a World War II bunker somewhere by the coast, a remote section of coastline. And I think that that could be a pretty cool place to spend the night. So when I left this morning, I had this nice ride along the Clifftop. And then after that, I had a ride down to a lake that was connected to the sea by a canal. And there was a long track to get down there. And when I got there, there was supposed to be a bridge that crossed the canal, though at some points in the past, it had collapsed. So I had to take this big detour around the lake that involved riding through some very overgrown fields. There's a section like through a bamboo forest. But yeah, finally made it to this nice pine forest that I'm currently in. On the other side of this forest, there's supposed to be a nice section of coastline with some coves and possibly some places to jump from small cliffs into the sea. So I'm back on the coast now, and it's a really cool, interesting section of coastline with loads of inlets and coves and archways, but it's pretty close to town where I am at the moment. So there's quite a few people around, at least there were about 10 minutes ago. So at the moment I'm sort of blazing my own trail across this big rocky section in search of somewhere a little bit more secluded to take a swim and take a break. So I've just been sat on this cliff top for probably about 30 minutes now, thinking about my plan for the next few days and for tonight. I was hoping to get quite a bit further today. I was planning to get to a World War II bunker, but I've been sort of stuck in this weird landscape for a while. So I decided to leave the roads and the tracks behind a while ago, and I've just been sort of like pushing through these narrow rocky paths which sort of go up and down hills, and of course it's been very slow. So I don't think I'm going to get as far as I had planned today. And there's actually a really beautiful beach just down here. So even though it's about 5 o'clock at the moment, it's still pretty early. I think I'm going to call it a night at this beach. So just got down to the beach. That descent ended up being a little bit harder than anticipated. So I can just about see my bike way up there somewhere. Really hard getting down those rocky paths with all this stuff. But happy to be down here now. It's a beautiful little beach. Even a little sandy section here. I am quite thirsty. So before I do anything else, I'm going to address that situation with a little beer that I picked up earlier. Alright, so for hours I have been wanting to get in the sea. Finally I found a nice quiet little beach that I have all to myself. So I'm going to jump in. So we've been on the beach for a couple of hours now. The sun starting to set, and I have my things strewn all over the place. So I have some shorts and a towel drying behind me somewhere. Some electronics up on this rock, safe from the sea, safe from the sand. And I've just got set up for the night with my hammock. So I'm very pleased to have found a couple of rocks around which I was able to loop the strings of my hammock, because I do like to sleep in my hammock much more than just on the ground. I find it really comfortable, really relaxing, especially when the sun comes up in the morning. Okay, that needs some work. So I had this working earlier, so I know it can work. Oh, it doesn't look good. Okay. It's just about holding on at the moment. I think once I'm in, it's fine. So yeah, as I was saying, when I'm not falling out of my hammock, it's very relaxing. For tomorrow, I'm planning to go to a town called Boza or Boza. I'm not sure how you say it, but it's supposed to be one of the prettiest towns in Sardinia. And then after that, the road from Boza or Boza north is supposed to be especially beautiful. But for now, I'm just gonna have a beer or something, and then I'll call it a night. So see you tomorrow. Today I'm going to be riding in this, and tonight I was planning to sleep on a beach. I still plan to sleep on a beach. I don't have a tent with me. I do have a tarp, so we'll have to see whether I can figure something out. So early afternoon now, and the rain has eased off just a little bit. It's been a really beautiful ride so far. Quite a bit of climbing, but some amazing views of a very sort of intricate coastline. Lots of small islands, lots of inlets, lots of coves. And I've seen on the map that further north there are lots of viewpoints marked. So I think as I continue going north, it's just going to get even more impressive. So a moment ago I spotted a break in the traffic barrier, and I noticed that next to it there was this narrow path leading down from the road down to the coast. And I'm taking a bit of a gamble at the moment on being able to find somewhere to spend the night at the bottom of this path. I've strapped all of my bags to my backpack with the exception of one that I'm carrying. And if I don't find somewhere to spend the evening down here somewhere, I'm going to have to haul all of this back up to the top, strap everything back onto my bike, and then continue down the road in search of somewhere else. So I'm really hoping that I can find somewhere down the end of this path to spend the night. And so at the moment I'm just sort of sheltering under this sort of overhang. I think the rain should pass quite quickly, but I'm just going to sit here for a few minutes, and when it stops raining I'll head down to the beach and think about where exactly I can sleep tonight. Often when I come to a beach, I will just find a couple of rocks, assuming there are no trees, and I'll just loop my hammock around a couple of rocks. However, at this beach, all of the rocks are covered in hundreds of little bugs that kind of look like woodlice. So that's a bit off-putting. Also, the rocks are pretty soft. They're sort of made of a sandy material, and they seem to break quite easily. So I'm not sure how well they will hold my weight. However, given that there are so many bugs, I would really like to avoid sleeping on the ground. So I'm going to give it some thought and try my best to come up with a way of rigging my hammock up. So I'm probably overcomplicating things, but I've had a good look around for rocks that I could put my hammock between and haven't found anything yet. So I've come up with an idea, which is to use this one rock here, which is pretty solid and isn't too bug infested, and there's a nice bit where I could loop my hammock around. And my idea is to use this log for the other end. Of course I'll have to stand that log up somehow, but I'm thinking I can probably stand it up behind this rock and then use some other rocks to keep it in place. So I think this idea is viable. I've basically got the hammock set up. Just need to add a few more rocks to improve stability and maybe add some logs here and there to increase the height. But I think it's going to work. In the end, my idea with the hammock worked, but then the rain started and I had to put up my tarp too. And to do that, I just stuck a smallish stick like this through the loop of the hammock on both ends, through the tarp over the top. The tarp has some strings with it, so I just tied those to various rocks and logs. I'll give you a quick tour inside. So here's the hammock. Got my sleeping bag ready to go. I put my sleeping mattress in there as well, just makes it a bit more comfortable. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it came out actually in the end. As long as there's no crazy wind tonight, I think it should be fine. Just taking a break behind a traffic barrier, but I think I'm only about 30 kilometers from Porto Torres, so I'm just going to hop back on my bike in a minute, keep on going, and hopefully I'll get there before too long. So after about 4 days on the road, I finally made it to Porto Torres. I'm just hanging out at a bed and breakfast this evening, taking some time to recover. Tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning, I am taking the ferry to Barcelona. I'm still not quite sure where it leaves from exactly, but I'm hoping that I can figure that out in the morning. See you then. Good morning, so it's about 6:15 right now. I'm supposed to be at my ferry in 15 minutes. Still not quite sure where it's going to leave from. So my ferry's coming in behind me now. So what I have to do now is wait to board. So I'll end this video here. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time. And so, like that, my trip across the Mediterranean came to an end. I would sleep in my own bed that night, free from concerns about rain or insects, but with the knowledge that it's hard to beat falling asleep under a blanket of stars, or waking up in a hammock on a beach at sunrise. I had originally planned to also ride through the Spanish Balearic Islands, but after several weeks and over 1,000 kilometers in the saddle, I needed a rest, and my bike needed some attention, so that'll have to wait until next year. Before I go, I just want to say that I really appreciate you watching this far, so here are some outtakes for your troubles. The idea is to make a salad, but oh my god. Jesus. Ow. Okay. So, ow.